Browns analyst floats theory about Shedeur Sanders. Cleveland Browns rookie QB Shedeur Sanders hasn't taken a snap this season, but he still had some things to say about where he belongs in the NFL. Those comments rubbed one team analyst the wrong way. Sanders made some waves this week by declaring that, based on what he's seen from quarterback play around the league, he's capable of doing better if he just gets a chance. "I know if you see the quarterback play in the league right now, I know I'm capable of doing better than that," Sanders declared in an interview. That remark didn't sit well with longtime Browns analyst Tony Grossi. On Friday, Grossi said that while it's okay for Sanders to have high confidence, the remark seems to come from Sanders being unable to resist speaking when he feels out of the limelight. "Shedeur can't help himself, he's been out of the limelight, he's hurting," Grossi concluded. Controversial or correct? Shedeur Sanders has been an outspoken quarterback since long before he was drafted. For many fans, it's one of many qualities that they love most about him. So when Grossi made those remarks, fans pushed back significantly. Tony Grossi saying, "You have to be mindful about what you say, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing. Why don't you take your own advice, Tony?" Could you imagine if somebody told you you couldn't speak or write what was on your mind while that is your job to do so? That's how Shedeur is feeling. He practices and puts all of the work in, yet they are preventing him from playing football. "You are the biggest hypocrite in Cleveland, and Cleveland can't stand you. You are a disgrace to our city. Leave," one user replied on X. "Why can't you say he frustrated with not being on the field instead of making it seem like he just wants clout and attention?" another asked. "So a player isn't allowed to speak confidently about his abilities?" Tony, at Shedeur Sanders is not hurting, he's just eager to show what he can do. "I think you're the one who can't help yourself, just stop," a third wrote. Shedeur Sanders is probably the most popular third-string quarterback that the league has seen since Tim Tebow, and he's just as polarizing as a player right now. Until we start seeing him on the field during the regular season, there's not much we can really say about his real potential as an NFL starter, let alone a legit star. This story was originally reported by The Spun on September 27, 2025, where it first appeared in the NFL section. Add The Spun as a preferred source by clicking here. When a rookie quarterback enters the NFL spotlight, the first wave of attention often centers around raw statistics, locker room soundbites, and the inevitable comparisons to established stars. But when that rookie is Shedeur Sanders, son of Deion Primetime Sanders, Heisman hopeful turned Cleveland Brown, the analysis takes on an entirely different dimension. This week, a Cleveland sports analyst floated a theory about Shedeur Sanders that has Browns Nation buzzing. Not because it was outrageous, but because it was strangely plausible, like one of those whispers that you can't quite dismiss once it's in your head. The theory: that Shedeur Sanders isn't just another developmental quarterback waiting his turn. He's a calculated piece of the Browns' long-term plan, potentially positioned to become not only the face of the franchise but also the cultural shift Cleveland has been seeking for decades. The analyst's claim. The analyst's words landed during a local radio segment, tucked between discussions about the offensive line's durability and whether the secondary could survive another injury. "Look," he said, voice rising with conviction, "the Browns didn't draft Shedeur Sanders just for depth. They drafted him because they see him as their quarterback of the future, maybe sooner than we all think." It wasn't a prediction of him starting tomorrow, but rather a suggestion that the Browns are preparing for a post-Deshaun Watson era earlier than expected. That comment was enough to ignite every talk show, message board, and sports bar in Northeast Ohio. The weight of a name. Shedeur Sanders doesn't step onto the field as an anonymous rookie. He carries not just his own resume but the gravitational pull of the Sanders brand. His father reshaped sports culture, turning swagger into a form of strategy, charisma into marketability. Shedeur, however, operates differently. Calm, polished, occasionally brash but mostly deliberate. That combination of famous lineage and individual poise feeds into the analyst's theory. If any rookie could shoulder the pressure of replacing a high-priced veteran while carrying the hopes of a restless city, it might just be Sanders. Cleveland's quarterback carousel. Part of the theory's traction lies in Cleveland's history, or, more accurately, its curse. Since 1999, the Browns have started more quarterbacks than some franchises draft in half a century. Every few years, a new savior emerges, only to fade into the long list of forgotten experiments. Deshaun Watson was supposed to break that cycle. The massive trade, the enormous contract, the headline-grabbing gamble, Cleveland staked its future on his success. Yet, uneven performances, injuries, and lingering controversies have left a sliver of doubt. Into that uncertainty steps Shedeur Sanders, whose presence offers both insurance and intrigue. The Analyst's theory rests on this tension. The Browns can't afford another decade of instability, and Sanders represents a unique pivot point. Beyond the numbers, the preseason glimpses of Shedeur showed what many already knew. He has the arm strength, pocket awareness, and playmaker instincts that made him a star at Colorado. But what impressed insiders most wasn't the highlight throws. It was his command in the huddle, his refusal to flinch when veterans tested him, and the quiet way he absorbed coaching. Analysts often say quarterbacks are judged not only by what they produce but by how they carry themselves. In this sense, Sanders appears older than his years. The floated theory gains credibility here. Perhaps the Browns see a leadership quality they can't ignore, something that could naturally transition into a starting role if Watson falters or the franchise pivots. Fans react. If there's one thing Cleveland fans love, it's debating quarterbacks. The Analyst's comments cracked open a floodgate of opinions. The optimists say Shedeur is the future, and the sooner he starts, the better. Let the kid learn on the job, one caller argued. He can't do worse than half the guys we've run out there. The skeptics caution patience, reminding everyone that rookies need time. This is Cleveland. We chew up quarterbacks and spit them out, another fan groaned. The Dreamers imagine a new era, Shedeur leading the Browns to playoff victories, Dion pacing the sidelines in designer sunglasses, and a national spotlight finally shining on the city for something other than heartbreak. The business side. Football is about wins and losses, but the business of football is about marketability. And here lies another subtle thread in the theory. The Browns, long considered one of the league's less glamorous franchises, suddenly have access to a player who draws attention beyond the field. Shedeur's name alone brings clicks, views, and merchandise opportunities. Combine that with Cleveland's hunger for a hero, and you have the makings of a narrative that stretches far beyond sports pages.